What if Tanjiro fought every Upper Moon demon? Can he defeat them alone? How would he even go up against monsters like Kokushibo and Doma alone? Well, we have an answer to all that. I'll be splitting the forms of Tanjiro into 3 forms: his base form, peak human form, and a surprise form that you'll see at the end of the video. Well, we'll start with the weakest form, Tanjiro's base form. So what are Tanjiro's abilities? Well, in this form, Tanjiro already has awakened his Demon Slayer mark, granting him a boost in physical strength. He wields a bright red Nichiren sword, which gives him an edge over some Upper Moons by drastically slowing down their regenerative abilities with each slash. Additionally, Tanjiro possesses enhanced accuracy, extrasensory perception, genius battle IQ, and enhanced strength. Without gaining some enlightenment or plot armor protection, this form will be the strongest that Tanjiro can achieve normally. In this base form, Tanjiro is also quite proficient in using the water breathing technique. While the primary breathing technique he employs in this form is the Hinokami Kagura, which he can execute from the 1st to the 12th form of this technique. With that in mind, how would he do against the Upper Moons? Well, let's move on to the first encounter. Upper Moon 6, Daki and Gyutaro. With all the abilities mentioned earlier, it's safe to say that the base form Tanjiro will definitely win against them, albeit he'll be somewhat wounded. But that is if we haven't taken into account the siblings, conditional death and decapitation immunity, where Tanjiro has to cut both their heads off at the same time, which will prove to be quite troublesome. So how will Tanjiro overcome this? Well, first things first, Tanjiro would use his improved speed to catch Daki off guard, whereas in the original series, even when he's not in his most powerful base form, Tanjiro was still able to blitz her. But Gyutaro's abilities here with her and his blood demon art, they can have enough range to make Tanjiro just block their attacks, not giving him any time to counter. However, once he fully unlocks his Demon Slayer mark and uses extrasensory perception, he can find an opening to slash both of their necks in one go, especially if Daki is near Gyutaro. He'll be heavily poisoned by Gyutaro's blood demon art, which is said to be so potent that it's even dangerous for Inosuke. Overall though, Tanjiro will still be victorious over the Upper Moon 6 siblings. Moving on to Upper Moon 6 replacement, Kaigaku. Can Tanjiro win against this new Upper Moon? Well, just a short overview, Kaigaku is a former fellow disciple of Zenitsu, under the same master. He's a former demon slayer who uses a thunder breathing technique, and he combines it with blood demon arts, making him a formidable enemy. However, Kaigaku still wasn't able to beat Infinity Castle Zenitsu and was one-shotted even though he ate a large number of people and evolved his blood demon art. So, don't worry, with the base form Tanjiro's abilities, he will easily blitz through Kaigaku. Kaigaku is not as troublesome as Daki and Gyutaro. His speed might exceed Tanjiro's because of his experience with thunder breathing technique, but because of his arrogance and tendency to underestimate his opponents, he might throw a technique to capture Tanjiro and torture him in front of Zenitsu later. This would prove to be his downfall, as with one counter of Hinokami Kagura, Kaigaku's head will be separated from his body. Now, Tanjiro will be facing the troublesome Upper Moon 5 Gyoko. So what can Tanjiro do against one of the most annoying Upper Moons in terms of fighting style? Well, based on Gyoko's fight against the Mist Hashira, Muichiro, it's clear that the Mist Hashira is a perfect counter for Gyoko, but Tanjiro doesn't use mist breathing. Gyoko has the ability to teleport into different pots to avoid attacks, and when he touches something, it instantly transmutes into a fish. His poisons also make him extremely dangerous at close range. If any other Hashira were to fight Gyoko, he would most likely win, but the base form Tanjiro is not your average demon slayer and can be stronger than a Hashira. And considering Gyoko's egotistical nature, although it would still be a hard fight, where there'll be a moment where Tanjiro is trapped like Muichiro, he'll eventually emerge victorious by using sun breathing to push Gyoko into a corner and finish him off. However, he won't win without injuries. Pushing it a step further, let's talk about how Tanjiro will manage to defeat the Upper Moon 4, Hantengu. Well, Tanjiro's winning streak will probably come to an end at the hands of Hantengu. Just imagine fighting 4 demons, each comparable to Upper Moons, with different abilities, and if that isn't enough, Zohakuten. The final forms of his clones can utilize wood manipulation while using the blood demon art of the others. This virtually gives Hantengu an unpredictable attack pattern and near infinite combinations of how he'll use it against Tanjiro. But will Tanjiro be able to overcome Hantengu's assault? Well, on the off chance that Tanjiro manages to beat things to a standstill, he'll most likely run out of stamina and will overly fatigue from using Demon Slayer mark and sun breathing for an extended period of time. In this battle of attrition, Tanjiro won't be able to defeat Hantengu, suffering his first loss. Moving on to another Upper Moon 4, Nakime. How will Tanjiro manage to beat her? Well, there are 2 sub-scenarios this fight can go to. First, if it's an open field where there's nothing but Tanjiro and Nakime, Tanjiro will just blitz her into oblivion. But if they're inside the Infinity Castle, then things take a more interesting turn. In the event that they do fight inside the Infinity Castle, Tanjiro would stand no chance against her if he's alone. And why is that? Well, Nakame's blood demon art allows her to manipulate the castle, where she could trap Tanjiro in an endless loop or crush him using the different parts of the structure, and it'll almost be impossible impossible for Tanjiro to find her even with all the abilities he has for now. So in Tanjiro's base form, he can defeat 3 out of the 8 upper moons. What do you think about Tanjiro reaching his peak human form? It seems like he needs to enhance his abilities to take down the remaining demons, and that's where Tanjiro's peak human form comes in. In this form, he can utilize the 13th form of the sun breathing technique. Basically, he performs all 12 forms of sun breathing one after the other to improve his accuracy and agility and reduce fatigue. It was specifically developed to kill Muzan. Moreover, Tanjiro gains a transparent world ability, which allows him to predict his enemy's movements by looking inside his enemy's body. Not only that, Tanjiro will unlock the selfless state, which allows him to hide his fighting spirit, which is also considered to be the zenith of physical combat. But will Tanjiro's peak human form be enough to overcome the remaining formidable upper moon demons? Well, let's just say that using this form, Tanjiro will be able to beat Hantengu because now he has the ability to blitz all of them at once through the 13th form of sun breathing. Adding to that, he can also defeat Nakime by using the selfless state and launching a sneak attack and causing her to panic because of the PTSD. Eventually, Tanjiro will win against both of them and move on to the next upper moons. Now that Tanjiro, who's stronger than ever, is facing Akaza, the one who killed Rengoku, we have to ask the question as to how their battle will play out. Akaza is undoubtedly a formidable fighter with his blood demon art techniques like technique deployment and compass needle. However, peak human Tanjiro can handle him because Akaza respects strength and enjoys a fair fight without resorting to petty tricks. With Tanjiro's transparent world ability to counter Akaza's blows, the fight will be easier for Tanjiro. Not only that, in the manga, we witness Akaza being slowly overwhelmed by Tanjiro, who didn't even fully master the 13th form of sun breathing. So will Tanjiro win this matchup? Well, it's safe to say that it'll definitely be a fight where Akaza will be able to hold his own and even grow back his head, even if Tanjiro manages to cut it off. In the end, however, Tanjiro will emerge victorious as sun breathing along with Red Nichiren's sword can stop his regeneration. After Tanjiro defeated the battle maniac Akaza, how would he go against the emotionless but sadistic Doma? Well, Doma may resort to mental attacks and tricks like taking hostages. If he uses these tactics, there's a high possibility that Tanjiro could be defeated since he values the lives of others, especially his comrades. It's uncertain if Doma will use schemes, but let's focus a one-on-one fight between them. In the manga, we only caught a glimpse of Doma's full power because he got poisoned by Shinobu due to his arrogance and playfulness. This weakened him significantly. However, assuming he retains his personality while fighting against peak human Tanjiro, Tanjiro could surprise him with a decapitating slash using the 13th form of sun breathing, weakening him or even killing him instantly. But without considering Doma's personality, Tanjiro's chances died down. The fight would be extremely close, with Doma using his cryokinesis to keep Tanjiro from engaging in close quarter combat while bombarding him with using his water lily Bodhisattva giant attacks. So, will Tanjiro's peak human form prove to be enough to overcome Doma's relentless onslaught? Well, things could go one way or the another, so this fight is a 50-50 result. So far, Tanjiro has 6 wins and 1 uncertain result out of the 8 upper moon demons, but we all know who he's coming up against. Now that Tanjiro is against the strongest demon other than Muzan, will he be able to survive this one? Well, even after the battle against the strongest Hashiras, Kokushibo wasn't completed, but just lost his will to live upon realizing the monstrous creature he had become. But what if that wasn't the case and he'll never consider to stop fighting? Well, considering Kokushibo has exceptional skills as a master swordsman with centuries of experience, mastery of the moon breathing technique, infinite stamina, enhanced regeneration, demon slayer mark, blood demon art, and the ability to the transparent world, I believe that Kokushibo would emerge as a victor in this fight against him. But is that really the case? Well, even if Tanjiro exerts his full strength and manages to land an attack using the 13th form of the sun breathing technique, Kokushibo's ability to heal himself and engage in an endurance battle by trading blows would give him the upper hand. There might be a chance Tanjiro can defeat Kokushibo if he gives his 110%, but if Kokushibo keeps on regeneration and possibly fully utilizing the monstrous form he showed off in the original timeline, then peak human Tanjiro would be defeated. But what if Tanjiro unleashed his strongest form? A form so strong that even Muzan believes that Tanjiro is the strongest being in the entire existence of the series. Yes, you know what we're talking about. Muzan himself again stated that if you don't like and subscribe to this channel, he will show up at your bed at night. So let's do it now. Yes, to fully overcome the remaining upper moons without further debate, Tanjiro needs to be in Demon King form, also known as Demon King Tanjiro. So just how strong is Demon King Tanjiro? Well, in this state, he becomes immune to the sun, possesses much stronger regeneration than Muzan, and gains all of Muzan's abilities. Essentially, Demon King Tanjiro represents a perfected form of Muzan, rendering him immortal and unbeatable within the Demon Slayer universe. The only way to defeat him is through a cure, which the upper moon demons do not possess. Best of all, he still has knowledge of sun breathing, if and only if he gains his consciousness and memories back. With his newfound power, Demon King Tanjiro can swiftly overpower Doma and Kokushibo, possibly even controlling them as he inherits all of Muzan's abilities. Moreover, he can potentially single-handedly destroy the Infinity Castle along with Nakime and blitz other annoying upper moons. In this form, Tanjiro is an unstoppable being capable of defeating all the upper moons, even if they were to join forces against him. Now, Demon King Tanjiro wins against all upper moons, even combined, but what if Urichi fought all of them? Can he win? Will the strongest upper moons be able to defeat the most powerful demon slayer in history? Take a look at our next video to find out.